Welcome back to another episode of the Three Bros. As you can tell, we are a bro short. Normally three minus one. We still have three. How does that math work? Well, you're forgetting McJam. How you guys doing?
Dude, another day, another dollar. How about you?
Same. Another Wednesday. You're already leaving me? Did I already bore you out of this podcast, Justin?
No, I had to close the door, so I didn't have to send my girlfriend to play video games, and then you hear me scream about football and sports. Trying to be
What is she playing?
Call of Duty. That's her game.
Really? That is, I would have never guessed that.
She's pretty good. I mean, she ranks up in there in the top three most.
Oh,
Pretty.
I'm sure she would destroy me.
Oh yeah, it's pretty good. She can't be me, but I'm just kidding. She probably be, right. But yes, no, you didn't lose me. I'm back. Just close the door. Try to be a gentleman. Halloween was yesterday. Did you guys have a good Halloween?
Pretty good, yeah. Dressed Charlie up as a lion, and I wore my jersey and passed out candy. Had a great night. The weather was great out here in Arizona. It was a nice night to hang out outside. So it was all good. Now the only bad part was we had a TV outside playing the Diamondbacks Rangers game, and that was ugly, literally starting in the second inning, and it didn't get better. And I don't know if the Diamondbacks right now, the last time I checked, they're tied, but I don't know if they can hang on to this series.
Really? You think it's gonna be a tough one for them?
Well, tonight's the last game at home, and if they lose, then I mean, it's over.
Yeah.
If they win, they still have two more at least in Texas. So that's going to be a tough one for them. Not saying they can't do it, but it's an uphill battle.
It is definitely an uphill battle. I saw they got smacked. What
Yeah,
I think it was like pretty bad the other day. And I
it
know
was
go ahead.
it was 5-0 in the second inning, and then it grew all the way to 11-1 in the eighth when they finally decided they were going to start getting some runs in. And then it ultimately ended 11-7, but it wasn't that close from the majority of the game.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hope for a better series. Didn't think the Diamondbacks would go out this way, but they can win a couple games and fight. Who knows? It's I guess they're at the underdog mentality now, which they've been in all postseason. So, hey, a miraculous
True.
comeback, maybe a miraculous year. You never know. Just knock on wood and hope for the best, right? But
Took Philly to 7 games, so you never know.
I heard it's not been a good like viewership too. I heard baseball's like I just saw like a post about like the years and what games they were. This is the lowest viewership of the World Series.
Really.
The
I
last
wonder
like
if that's just the trend of baseball not being as popular anymore, or if it has to do with the teams. I feel like it's not the teams, because if anything, people like seeing new teams in the championship series or game or what have you. Um, so I feel like it's just baseball on the decline.
dude 110% because last year was the Phillies and Houston, right? And that was actually the
Yeah.
second like in their little chart thing. I
Oh,
think
so it's just been consistently going down no matter who's in there.
like the big one it was the Dodgers and someone else. I can't even remember the thing. I'll have to look it up. But just trends that baseball's going down, which mean like, dude, let's be honest, like it's like basketball. Whenever you have something that's like a multiple series length and this and that, like it's a little harder to get people to be committed, to the whole show or to the whole games. Where like football, it's one game, one day, nothing more,
Yep.
nothing. I'd say like hockey, basketball, baseball, their viewerships compared to NFL is insanely vast and different. Like it's what I think football gets some odd million, 100 million. Let's see.
I
Let's
think
look at
the NBA does pretty well overall, but their average regular season game is not getting the viewership an average regular NFL season game is.
what's the NBA's trophy? What's the thing? Championship.
Uh, is that not the Larry Bryant trophy?
I'm just gonna look up their viewership because I'm curious. All right. No, no. Even oh god, that's insane. Okay, this is a statistic, but I want to know what oh god, this is bad. This is so different. Okay. How different do you think this is?
I think the NBA is probably the next. Is this like average game viewership?
Okay. This quote says, million viewers average this million viewers, and it's an overview of 13 one. I don't know how they're doing it. I'll just tell you. You ready? So for viewership for the basketball was 11.64 million viewers.
Mm-hmm.
The MLB, I think this year was like 7. Well, 8.15 million people. So that's
For the
the
World
difference
Series or
in
okay.
basketball, right? Guess football.
For the Super Bowl?
Yep.
Just domestically?
Yep.
20 plus.
Oh, I don't know if this is domestically. Yep. Just domestically. How many you said?
20.
Get your mind blown. 115 million.
Wow.
115 million. They have 100 million more viewers watching the Super Bowl than they watched any of the NBA final games. I think for when it's for all
That's
the
insane.
when it's for all the marbles, think about how much like more intense people are going to watch it. It's one day.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
it's such a hyped event that you're getting people who don't even care about the game tuning in, whether it's for the commercials or the halftime show or whatever. It's such a big event that it's getting people who otherwise would not watch football.
exactly. So I have another question for you then. Do you
Go
think
for it.
a football outperformed the NBA in the World Series, or do you think they did less?
Do I think the NBA outperformed?
Or college football? Do you
Oh,
think college
college.
championship were they did they rank better than the NBA and the MLB or worse?
I would say they probably rank better than the MLB. I'm not sure about the NBA. Both?
17.2 million people watched the college football championship, and that was a
Wow.
down year for the college football championship. It's football. That's why when we talk about sports and what our favorite sports is, that's why we're a football podcast, baby. A
Yeah, for
hundred
sure.
million for a Super Bowl, 17 for college football. We barely talk on that.
And
It's crazy. When you just
it's
think about
still higher.
yeah. So we're relating this back, I guess, to the World Series and just the decline in viewership. I think when you just have long series games and they're
Hmm.
baseball 3 hours long, like if you're watching, let's just get 5 games off of that's 15 hours you have to commit to watching them, and within a week, like that's less than 7 days, really. That's a lot of time. And most of the time, if you don't watch one, you don't really care to watch the others unless you're like that committed.
Yeah, I get that. Growing up a big hockey fan and having a lot of great Red Wings teams, so like the first 23 years of my life, I had no idea what it was like for the Red Wings to not make the playoffs. And playoff hockey is very exciting. When your team is hot, you're looking forward to each game and you're impatient on those days in between the games. So like when you're really into it, uh,
You want to guess
you
hot,
know, oh, I'm sure hockey's pretty low because hockey has a very small viewership compared to the other.
but very committed fan base for sure.
Very committed, but smaller. Yeah.
3.6.
Wow. For the Stanley Cup, I wouldn't have guessed that low.
Either. That's crazy because I even watched it. I actually went out of my way this year to watch it because I was interested. I watched through the playoffs, through the Kraken and stuff. Oh my God, the baby had blessed us. Look how cute. But yes, no, I did watch it because of that. It was definitely down from the previous year when the Tampa Bay took on the Avalanche. It averaged 2.3 million.
I bet you if you looked up ratings from the late 90s and early 2000s, I bet you hockey had higher ratings back then. Now, with streaming platforms and all these different ways people can view things, it just feels like people watching television has gone way down.
What's funny you say that? 1997 was the best year they've had as viewership and 4 millions. And do you know who went to the series? Who won or who
That
went?
is the Red Wings and the Capitals, and they swept them for the second time in a row for the cup.
Super close. It was actually the Flyers that you guys played.
Oh, it was the Flyers, and then we swept the Capitals in '98.
So super close. Well, good job, Chris. Well, just crazy to think about it. But at the end of the day, I really hope our Diamondbacks can pull out a W. We need it for just a good win for Arizona. When Arizona can't win championships, they can get there. They can't win shit.
Yeah, I'd like to see them win for sure. I like the Diamondbacks.
What a unique way to do it. But dude, but besides baseball, I know we had a little bit of basketball started too recently. Nothing really crazy to report, except the fact that fucking James Harden got his way somehow, some way. That man comes smelling like a rose, and he gets his ass to a loaded
It
Clippers team.
doesn't matter.
Isn't
It
that
doesn't matter how loaded they are. You know what's going to happen come playoff time? All of them are going to be sitting on the bench, load managing and injured, because that is probably the softest team ever constructed in the NBA. And I love Paul George. I'm a big Paul George fan. He gets a lot of hate, but when he's good and he's fun to watch. So I wish him nothing but the best, but the rest of that roster is just soft.
it is?
Kawhi got injured just hearing that James Harden got traded. Like, let's be honest.
I wonder how, like, I hope for their sake, because that's a crazy good team. That's the hard part that I have with basketball is it's longer of a season one, and then two, people get hurt all the fucking time, and then they're out for weeks on end, and they're missing like 10 games, and then they don't come into like playoffs. We're like, dude, I feel like, dude, in football, like people like it's I guess it's one game, you can just kind of man up and do it, whatever. I don't know actually, I'm not sure. But I feel like people play in either they get seriously injured or they play injured or through injuries. Like basketball player feels like, oh, they just hurt.
So yeah, back in the day, it felt like basketball players played through more injuries than they do nowadays. Everyone's taking games off and load management, and yet there's been more injuries in basketball than ever before.
I agree. Well, that's crazy. Well, I just thought that was insane because now that puts Westbrook, Paul George, Kawhi, and James Harden as a starting rotation for the LA Clippers. Like, I don't think they're gonna. They could be technically competitive against the Nuggets. I almost called them the Broncos. Excuse me. But to what extent? I think you don't have a big man like Jokic. Like Jokic is a different kind of guy. Like he can't compare him to a Kawhi Leonard. Like, yeah, they're both good defensively, but he's a big ass center who can shoot threes. And then Jamal Murray is just a stud, and they're younger. This is like an old roster. Like, I wonder what the average age of those four people are. Because I think out of all of those, wouldn't Westbrook be the oldest? I think he is sitting at
Yeah,
30.
Westbrook is the oldest.
He's 34 years old. Paul George is 33 years old. I don't even know how to spell Kawhi's name. That name is so funky. He's 32. And who else we're missing? The fuck I just said James Harden. I just hate him, bro. I don't hate him. He's 34. I don't hate James Harden. I just think the way he went about all this stuff is just insane. Like, dude.
Well, he just keeps doing this everywhere he is. As soon as he wants out, he like just acts like a diva and does whatever he wants and gets his way.
I miss vintage Rockets him. He was a
He
beast.
is he's never going to he will never win a ring.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to keep jumping from team to team and never get it done.
He was only on the Thunder for a little bit, and then he went to the Rockets, and he played the most time at the Rockets. He almost played just shy of 10 years with the Rockets, and I felt like that was committed. That was the time I liked him. 10 years, almost commitment to him. That's a long time. And then he went to the Nets and the 76ers. Now he's on this. Like, this is his third team since 2021. 2020, 2021. So in 3 years. That's a lot. There's like, how are you getting
It's a
settled there?
lot.
You know what I mean? Like, how you're gonna get settled in a community where you can actually play basketball and do good teams. But who knows? Not me. I don't have to. That's not my guy. I just think it's crazy and what a trade. What did they even get for him?
Several players.
Because like they traded him and what's his bucket? PJ Tucker to the Clippers. And PJ Tucker's a good defensive guy. To have him as a backup rotation is pretty solid, I can't lie. But I mean it's gonna be hard to beat the Nuggets. They look good, good, good. But there's a lot. It's the beginning of basketball. You can't really judge anything off of this. You can't really judge anybody. What'd you get? You get some McJam?
Yeah, so the 76ers sent over Harden, PJ Tucker, Philip Petrusev, and then Clippers got Marcus Morris, Robert Covington, Nick Batum, KJ Martin, and a 2028 unprotected first round pick, and then 2 second-round picks.
Nice. So they sent that to the Sixers for that. That's not bad. I mean, honestly, the Sixers got the win of the deal anyways. They got a player they didn't really want in their organization out. They got a future first round draft pick and 2 second round draft picks for a team that's already kind of loaded. They'll be fine. I think this was a win. Get him out of your locker room. You don't want him there anyways. But it's so early in basketball, you can't really tell who's good and who's not. But I'll tell you, in the 4 games I've seen him play, Christian Porzingis is back to his prime self.
Oh, see, that's not who I thought you were about to say.
Who?
I thought you were about to say Wimby looks really good. He looks really good.
What generational talent. Like, dude, the Spurs get it with everybody, but what a cool win. What a cool team. Dude, they're sitting 2-2. That's not horrible. And he looks really good. He's just tall, bro. He literally could just stand there and like put his hand up and he could block shot, get in.
Did you see he was Slender Man for Halloween?
Yeah, what a good costume, man. He looks like him. If he picked somebody that was his idol, it's probably him. But he looked really good. The Lakers are looking decent. Mavs are looking super hot with Kyrie. They kind of got that season to gel. I like that Luka Kyrie combo. They just don't have a big man. I feel like you can't make it if you don't have a big man. You can. I've seen teams do it, obviously, but like, dude, Jokic is just so different. Like, I think if you're anybody in the West, I just want a center. That's him. I want someone that can compete with him at the center position. Because either centers are so slow and not really like agile. He's everywhere. He's fast. He's agile. He's smart. Like, dude, you need a player like him. Like Anthony Davis would compare really well to him if he could stay healthy.
Yeah, but Anthony Davis is just inconsistent and not healthy all the time. Yeah,
it's not even that he's inconsistent. He's just never healthy. He always
there's games where it's like he just phones it in.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens. There's still some good stuff that happened in basketball. A lot to go down. We'll kind of give a breakup next week. That'll probably be 10 more games. I'm just kidding. But that's kind of just the sports that I really follow, what I've been following. You guys know that I love basketball. I think it's always really fun. But I haven't watched much hockey. Alex is our hockey guy. So I mean, I don't know if you've seen any. I don't even know how the Kraken are doing, but we'll look it up. But anyways, we can always talk about college football because I heard controversy and I know you love it, right?
What do I love?
The rankings for the college football playoffs?
I don't care. I do think that it's ridiculous that Ohio State's number one when I don't know. Like, just because they beat Penn State's not good. Penn State has a good defense. Their offense is trash. And they struggled for most of the game against them at home. Michigan's about to go into Penn State and beat them worse than Ohio State just beat them at home. So, but that's why I really don't care, is it's still so early that the rankings don't mean anything. Nothing is truly locked in. I will say, though, actually, beyond that, the thing with the rankings that made me more upset than Ohio State jumping Georgia and Michigan, because honestly, I think Georgia should be number one. They've won it back to back, and they're still like, yeah, they don't look as good as the past couple of years, but they still look damn good. They deserve to be number one until they're not number one. But USC, do you see where they ranked USC? USC shouldn't even be in the top 20, and I think they put them at 10 or 11.
20.
Oh, they put him at 20.
Southern California, USC.
They should not be at 20.
No,
They do not deserve to be ranked. They are horrible.
Well, it's not even that they're horrible. They've just done dick all. And I think it's funny because Caleb Williams, talent, all this stuff. It was literally this whole drama thing. Now he just lost 2 games to some teams he should have beat.
Yep.
And through some pretty good bad interceptions. I think he had 3 one game and 2 another game. Like, not looking like the dude that you were saying you're going to be. I don't think you're the guy anymore. And people are going to start looking elsewhere because you're too much. So you just shot yourself in the foot. But they shouldn't be on there. But they should
at 10.
At 10? Okay, so here's the top 10. Ohio State, Georgia, Michigan, Florida State, UW, Washington, Oregon, Texas, Alabama, Oklahoma, Ole Miss is at number 10. And Oklahoma's number 9, which Oklahoma deserve. I don't know if they deserve it. They just lost to Kansas, didn't they?
Yes, they did just lose to Kansas. And didn't Washington just lose to ASU?
No, they almost lost to ASU. They are really close, but they're undefeated.
They almost, okay.
So the top, every team except the Air Force Academy, which is ranked 25, are undefeated, or have 1 loss. So Washington 5 up in Air Force. So 6 teams total are undefeated. All the other ones at least have a 1 loss thing, which is really cool. Actually, let's take that. That's cool. That means you have to play some hard games. There's going to be tougher competition. I like that. I think the NIL deals really made that happen because people can get their bag anywhere. They'll be paid on the table by anything.
Right, for sure.
100%. But I mean, dude, yeah, UW definitely did not play their most impressive game against Arizona State, but they beat a pretty good Oregon. And I forgot who else they beat, but it was a good game. Well, big surprises to me on this one. I'm surprised they didn't put Notre Dame a little bit more. I know Notre Dame has had 2 losses, but they lost to Ohio State, and I can't remember their other loss. Well, who was it?
I believe they lost to who?
Louisville.
No, is it?
Yeah, I was gonna say Duke, but yeah, no, it was some team that was definitely not expected. And you're right, it was Louisville.
Crazy. Yeah, I don't know then. I wouldn't rank them. Yeah, nothing about this surprises me. I mean, it does surprise me that Ohio State is number 1. I know that would piss you off, and I just wanted to see if it would piss you off, but it didn't get the action or reaction that I wanted.
It's, you know what? Because I don't get obsessed with the rankings. You know, the rankings that matter are on Selection Sunday, the final ones. Until then, these are going to switch around so many times until then that there's no point to like getting too upset or too happy over them either way.
Understood. Well, what a great outlook to it. And damn it, I didn't get you riled up. But I have nothing else on college football because I don't watch college football. This is probably the one day I can never take off.
Well, I will fill you in on something that's very strange, and that is that the Colorado players had all their jewelry robbed from their locker room when they played at UCLA. And Dion wants UCLA to pay for it, which I think is kind of funny. Because it's like, if these pieces of jewelry are thousands of dollars, why are they not insured? Like, you're just leaving them in a locker room uninsured. Like, it's kind of on them. Not saying that robbery or anything is cool. Like, obviously that sucks, and whoever did it, you know, I hope they get caught. But I don't know if that was me. Now, needless to say, I wouldn't be spending thousands of dollars on jewelry. That's not me. But if I was, I'd be protecting the hell out of that shit. But what's weird about it is this exact thing happened when he was at Jackson State, where someone broke into the locker room and stole a bunch of jewelry and shit. And I think even specifically from him. So I don't know. That stuff just never happens. So for it to happen twice to him is just weird. I'm not trying to spark any conspiracy theories. I'm just that it's just a strange coincidence. That's all.
You know,
I like Dion.
Harold, when I saw him kind of fighting, I was like, yeah, that makes sense because like you should have like some like either way or not, you should have good security. There should someone be in that area because of that. Like,
For
so
sure.
not to feel like, okay, someone broke in, there's a lack of security, meaning the Rose Bowl wasn't keeping somebody safe. And in college kids, like they're eventually students. So the college wasn't protecting the students, even if it was jewelry. But for him even being the icon and the person that he is and the players that are in his locker room, of course all of them have money. I mean, two of them are like the highest paid college football players. Of course they're going to have diamonds and stuff like that. And part of that is maybe the incompetence of trying to be insured or understanding what insurance may do for them or how it could benefit them, right? They're just kids. They're fucking 18-year-olds with millions of dollars and playing football and going to college. Like, dude, they're living the dream. This is fun. This is life. No one taught them that. So I think the Rose Bowl should at least like do something, or they should have insurance that they can also file through. I don't know. I don't
No,
know how insurance works,
no.
but I do understand where he's coming from, and I get it
If
too.
if someone came to you, Justin, and said, "Hey, uh, I was robbed while I was in your store," is it your store's responsibility to repay what was taken from him?
No, that's different, I think, because it would be like, all right, here, I'll give you my scenario of what I'm thinking, if that was most similar to it. If someone came in here and took all my Pokemon cards, I would kill somebody, bro. I would murder somebody because it's a lot of money worth of Pokemon cards. And I think of it like that as like a value. Like, so my chains are my Pokemon cards. So if someone stole those, somehow I'm getting my money for them or something from it. That's how I think about it. And that may be the greedy white person in me, but give it back, baby. How you gonna feed it to me? That wasn't my fault that I got robbed. Like, so in a sense, like it's different because like if I got robbed, that means someone had to break my apartment security because I have all these little things to get through it. So someone let them in. And then they broke into my house, which was another security breach. Then you stole all that shit and left. You took my money, honey. Took my investments.
I love your stretch, but I promise you, the police would laugh at you and tell you it is not your apartment's complex's problem.
Oh, it's okay because I do understand that. Because when I did get my car broken into, I was like, "What? I get nothing." They gave me nothing for getting my car broken into. I need. I was like, "All right, whatever." But I understand. I understand what you're saying. He should be better. He's Deion Sanders. He probably has millions of dollars. So just buy it back. You'll be okay. I think that's kind of crap because they're wealthy people too at the same time, right? But the wealthy just get wealthy, bro. Let's just be honest. This is not our podcast meant for conspiracies, but wealthy are going to stay wealthy. They can spend money and blow money. It doesn't matter. It's like nickels and dimes. But I'm good on college football and wrapping that up. If you're good, if you got nothing else for me, perfect. Well, I do want to talk
Good.
about results for our predictions last week, which I thought were going into it. I felt they were a lot better. We did ass the week before. I don't know if you remember how bad it was, but I don't think anybody had more than 5 wins. This week we did a lot better. We were more about 500, and it literally was one game that decided first places and second places. We have a two-way tie for one for first and one for second. So, who do you guys want to play? I love guessing games, I guess. Do you guys want to guess who won? The two people who won. You won't guess one, but I'll bet you'll guess the other.
I would say that McJam and Alex won.
No, Alex did win, but McJam did not. His choice for the Packers knocked him out. That's literally the game. So Alex won, and then I won with a record of 9-7. So we literally just were one above 500, and then you and McJam tied with an 8-8. McJam messed it up specifically with that game of the Packers and the Vikings. If he would have chose the Vikings, not his heart, he maybe would have got a dub. Which I don't know, McJam really believed. I think you're just picking with your heart. You tell me. But and then the other one that you lost, Chris, was the one I convinced you to lose. Was one. If you would have picked the Eagles, you would have been fine. And I think the other one, it was a weird one. The Colts. You picked the Colts instead of the Saints. Because you're a Minshew mania. and he didn't pull through for you. I don't even know if he played.
No, he did not. That game was very disappointing. Can we take a quick break real quick?
And we were just talking about rankings, and I really don't give a shit about how well I did. I do because I consistently win. But what I really care about is getting a win as a fucking fan. And not only did I get a win this week, you got a win this week, and a pretty win at that. Chris, dude, let me eat. I know you probably just stepped away to give somebody else some food, so you're still in the kitchen. Let's cook, baby. Let's get to the Lions Den.
I loved the way this team bounced back after that brutal loss to the Ravens. The score was not indicative of the game. It was more of a domination that we just kept settling for field goals, unfortunately. Like the red zone play calling, was not a fan of in this game. So that was the one downfall. Other than that, I absolutely loved what I saw from this defense, just getting after Jimmy G. We got Josh McDaniels fired and that GM. So pretty dominant win. Now we're going into our bye week. We just traded for
really coming together.
What
is that?
You guys hear that?
Yeah.
So sorry. I was trying to look at the score because I wanted to see the score of the game. Sorry, Chris.
So
remember the score of the game, but I just wanted to double check because I watched it on Monday night and you guys looked so good, and Jahmyr Gibbs is so good and so talented. And I thought he would have trouble running against that Raiders defense because they talk highly about it. But dude, he ran and ran and ran all over.
As far as I'm concerned, Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Bijan Robinson, and there isn't a game yet to prove me wrong. And we just traded for Donovan Peoples-Jones, another local Detroit kid who went to Michigan, who is now back with the team he grew up rooting for. It just, that's the shit I love to see. So I'm super excited to see him kind of step in for Marvin Jones, who stepped away from the team for some family issues. And I think he's going to be a welcome addition to that wide receiver room. And like I said, we got this bye, so I'm not really looking forward to this weekend because, like, normally when the Lions are bad, it's like, hey, it's a bye week. It's the 1 week a year the Lions can't piss me off. But now it's like, oh, they have me looking forward to them so much that I'm disappointed that this is their bye week. But we'll get some rest up. Hopefully, some guys who are injured still will heal up and come back in time to make a beautiful second half of this season.
Yeah, man. Well, let me ask you a question because I knew all you really wanted them was to get a secondary help, and they didn't.
They did not do that, or pass rush.
How do you feel, man, about that? The lack of motivation or movement. Would you think other teams weren't moving, or do you think they just didn't want to move?
I think it's a combination of Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell have specific types of guys in mind. So it's just because like you're a superstar doesn't mean you fit their culture. So automatically, like they're kind of picky on who they're going after, and then Brad isn't going to overpay. So even though I'm very disappointed, seeing the Eagles, seeing the 49ers kind of make these moves, even the Bears got a big pass rusher. It's kind of like, oh, why couldn't we have done that? At least, now I would have preferred a corner, but like someone to help that D line with Hutch and everything would have also been greatly appreciated. Nothing happened. That's okay. I still trust in Brad Holmes. He's still by far the greatest drafter that this organization has probably ever had. So I trust his process of building this team. And it just kind of sucks to see Chase Young go to the 49ers for a third round pick, and you realize even if he doesn't re-sign there this offseason, the 49ers will get a third round compensatory pick for him. So it's kind of like why didn't we do that, but it is what it is.
Well, I mean, if you're that guy, I agree. I knew that was all you were looking for and waiting for. You're posting in our little chat, having all the fun.
Yeah,
and nothing
I was pissed.
Dude, super good win. I loved watching that game, and it is so funny that literally right after you lose the Lions, you just firehouse. What a way So, man, that's normally the Lions on the opposite hand. They firehouse, and after they just
Well,
got
see,
their
the Lions normally don't fire in the season. Now that happened to Matt Patricia, and thank God it did. But normally that's not really what they do. The Raiders, on the other hand, this is like the third time in the last 20 years that they've done a mid-season firing, which is just kind of crazy for a franchise.
and it's a very loyal and committed franchise that has done nothing but lose. I'm a Cowboys fan, and I can say we've lost. We've had some bad seasons, but there's been years we've been really competitive into it. The Raiders, kind of competitive with Derek Carr, was like the last really good things. But dude, before that, you drafted Jamarcus Russell, literally what's considered to be the worst
Biggest
draft.
bust ever.
Like they were bad for years, and they made it to a Super Bowl in what, early 2000s, didn't they?
Yeah, they literally lost in the AFC Championship. Then John Gruden, I don't know if they fired him or if they traded him to the Tampa Bay Bucks. And then the very next year, the Super Bowl was Tampa Bay versus Las Vegas, or Oakland at the time, and the Tampa Bay won.
Yeah. Well, good with a win, but we're not here to talk about the Raiders. I'm happy, excited about your Lions. I think it's super fun, and I'm excited you guys have a bye week because you probably it's going to be good rest for a lot of your guys, and a good way to get people adjusted like Donald Jones, so that you can see him just start stepping in and playing some games. You can take me to an introduction, but sometimes there is no introduction needed for the Cowboys corner. It is what it is. It's a roundup.
This was a big week. I mean, do you realize? And hold on.
It's all good.
One
Your
second.
baby.
One second.
This is the best part about this podcast is although we are a fun group of people listening to podcasts, we are also humans and we have kids and responsibilities and life.
See, I don't even think the pod. I don't even think the Cowboy Corner should really exist this week because they took that game off TV for me because it became such an ass whooping. So I think we should take the Cowboy Corner off this pod because of how bad of an ass whooping that was. I don't even know what the final score was because they literally turned the game off in the beginning of the fourth quarter and put it on the Commanders Eagles.
And really, honestly, I was there pretty much for the full first half, and it was just a slaughtering. Like it was defensive plays, our offensive plays, like everybody just looked good. Like it was just flowing. And it was just so nice to see. We were up 33 to like what 9, and then they managed to get 20 points, so they got 11 more points. But we only scored a field goal and a touchdown. But at that point, I think we were just running out the clock of what it was. Who really knows? But dude, so great to see. So great to see CD get some plays, and he played really lights out. Like he did really awesome. He was a leader last week, I think, in fantasy points for some people. We had a safety from it. We had an interception for a touchdown. Dude, you want to hear the funniest thing? I thought I set my lineups, but I forget to set my defense. I did everything but my defense. Do you know what team I picked for my defense last week?
Not Dallas.
No, the Rams. So I have the Cowboys on my bench and the Rams defense fucking me in a fantasy. But
so in one league, I have Tua as my starter and I have Dak as my backup. And this was the 1 week where it was like, oh, I should have played Dak. Like I still destroyed my guy, but like I should have played Dak.
Dude, he had a great game. He only missed 6 balls. He had 304 yards, 4 touchdowns. He threw 1 interception. Like, dude, I know that
CD looked great. And I watched that interception. That was a tip ball. Like it wasn't really on him.
It was a little and not. He threw it right at that dude's chest, and the guy just got it up. But he was playing lights out. Would have loved seeing more from our run game. I'm just really disappointed in our run.
Did you guys think you guys would you would trade for someone?
I really wanted them to trade for something, but I didn't know who or what. I just know we need a guy we need a big back. Like I don't need a sprinter, a runner, a fast guy. I need a dude, let me just ram it down your throat for a second.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't get any of that, but it's cool. It's whatever. I think we played really good here, but we got to play this good against the 49ers. We got to play this good against the Eagles. This week is a big week. And as a Cowboys fan, we needed to stomp the Rams to do it. And this is where we're gonna give Philly their second loss this upcoming week. I'm so pumped, bro, because it could
I
either
hope so.
go how it is. I don't know either, because the Eagles, dude. How do you keep getting better? How do you keep getting these guys? And what are you doing? Like, yeah, Kevin Bird from the Titans. You just got Julio Jones, who already caught a touchdown for you. And then who else did they just get in free agency? Or the trades?
Um,
Oh my god.
yeah, they traded for maybe someone on defense. Not Bird, but no, I don't remember.
No, we're not this. I forgot who they got either. I can't even think. But they did just get somebody, didn't they?
I thought they made another move, yeah, after the Bird trade.
Oh, they got Kavarius. Oh no, is that from two? Okay, no, they gave away. No, they got nope, they gave away two. From and two, right? That makes sense.
So
Anything.
speaking of really good defenses, though, I came across this stat, and these are the top pressure leaders in the league. So these guys are getting the most QB pressures. Number one at 47, Max Crosby. Number two at 46, Aiden Hutchinson. Number three at 44 is Nick Bosa, which is insane because he has not had that great of a year, and he just got paid a shit ton of money. Like, you should be number one. Like, he has, I don't know how many sacks has he gotten this year so far. I don't know that off the top of my head. I think only a couple. Then we have Dexter Lawrence and Micah Parsons, and then Josh Sweat, George. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that last name, but he plays on the Chiefs, and then Josh Allen to round it out. So those are your top pressure leaders in the league, which I thought was pretty cool. The Aiden Hutchinson was so high up, being in his second year, so that got me all jazzed. Max Crosby, that is the only good thing about the Raiders. Like, do you see how he was getting after it? He was scary in that Detroit game. He was all over the place.
The thing I like about him is that he basically has like personality syndrome, like a multiple personality syndrome, because when he's on the field, he's a different person. Like the way he just talks shit and he's in people's faces, like that's what I want. I want someone that can be both. Because like outside of the thing, I heard he's a pretty nice guy, but like when he's there, he's saying the weirdest stuff. He's yelling at him. He looks bad as fuck, bro. And that's what you want from a defensive player. I think like when you're in offense, you're a little bit more like elegant. But when you're on defense, like dude, you got to be mean and hard as shit, and that's
Oh
what
yeah.
I want to be like.
I really wanted the Lions to somehow get him because he's a Detroit boy who went to Eastern, and he wanted the Lions to draft him, and they passed up on him 3 different times in that draft. So I would have loved to see him come home, but
You would have known that he'd be who he is.
yeah, I mean, yeah, he came out of Eastern. Like, it's not a big school.
No, not at all. But for the Cowboys corner, besides that, dude, what a great win. I have nothing else from it. Brandon Cooks caught a touchdown, so that's cool to get him
Yeah,
involved.
that was a great catch.
But hey, this week is what matters. And defenses, like we were just talking about, the Eagles have a really, really, really good defense. And it's going to be competitive to see. But we can get just into the games because there were so many fun ones, I think, or like funny ones. So I don't know where you want to start, but we can go all over the place.
You go with your most interested game.
Oh,
What
which one's not the
grabbed your
most?
attention?
First off, the freaking Broncos beat the Chiefs. Tell me how I saw a meme. It was like the Broncos in the last few weeks got beat by 70 points and and held the Chiefs defense offense to 9 points.
Yeah, that's insane. I think a big part of it had to deal with the snow and the weather conditions in Denver, but
Dude, no.
you don't think so?
No, dude, don't make excuses for them. That's
I'm not
pissed.
making excuses, but like
Look, it's doing it. I want to see these scores so bad, and the NFL one is horrible.
you're gonna tell me it wasn't at least a factor at all?
No, it's a factor, but dude, you live in Kansas City. Aren't you used to the snow? Guess what, buddy? It's football.
To
It
an
doesn't
extent.
like you said, I believe you personally said that you don't like domes because people should be able to play in weather conditions and it's
Yeah.
advantage to the team.
Oh, that's my favorite type of game
But
is
that's
snow.
it's football. You have to be prepared for it. You can win in those situations. You should win in those situations. You have to. It doesn't matter, right? You're the Chiefs. You only got 9 points. I don't give a shit about snow. That means you couldn't run.
True.
No one really caught a football. Did you only score field goals that game? So you couldn't even punch in the end zone on a Broncos team who's looked like ass. Like
Yeah, Mahomes did cost me my fantasy matchup because of how poorly he played.
And dude, Russell Wilson looked better than him, just hands down in that game. I don't think he's better than him
Just in that game.
but he played. Yeah, thank you for your reference. But yes, I
Fuck
think
Russell.
he played better
Just
and
kidding.
looked better in just that game.
Yeah, that's fair.
You're not surprised?
Oh, I was super surprised. I thought for sure the Chiefs were going to go in there and win. Denver's so bad. They're so bad. I thought for sure the Chiefs would have an easy win. And that was not the case. But I do think part of it was the snow, and the other part of it was that defense did finally come to play.
Yeah, I agree. The other one that really surprised me was the Steelers. We voted for the Steelers, and we didn't get a chance.
That didn't surprise me.
And I hate believing in Alex ever in anything when it comes to his team. He's such a believer. He finally gets you to believe, and then they shit the bed on a team that like he was so confident, and they looked horrible.
Didn't Kenny Pickett get hurt in that game too?
They didn't look horrible, but he did get hurt. He hurt his ribs, and if Alex was here, that's the excuse he'd be giving. So he did. He got hurt about halfway of the game. Oh no, maybe a little less, because then Mitchell Trubisky threw for 27 attempts. So that means he got it could have been a factor into it. Which I mean, Kenny Pickett might be better than Mitchell Trubisky because Mitch threw 2 interceptions this game and only scored a touchdown.
It's a battle of the mid. They're not very good. The Steelers aren't actually going anywhere this year. Let's be honest. Like, as weird as that division has been so far, when it comes down to it, they're going to be barely over 500. The Ravens will win the division, and either the Browns or the Bengals will come in second and make the playoffs.
Forget it. This is the best week to talk shit on the Steelers because Alex isn't here to defend them.
Yeah, he's not even here to whine.
So bad. Like, yes, they won some games. They shouldn't be 4-3. The way that they're 4-3 is insane, but they still have a hard rest of schedule. And you're so right, dude. First off, beating the Ravens twice, good luck.
Yeah, not happening.
Beating the Browns twice, good luck. You're going to lose 2 games right there. Secondly, this is just what's going to happen to you. You're just going to start to fall apart. And the Steelers are really good at shitting on themselves. So they'll just continue to do it moving forward.
And, as great as TJ Watt is, if he, God forbid, goes down, that is not the same defense anymore. And that's the highlight of the team.
You know what's really funny is he had a quiet game. He didn't do anything. He had 2 total tackles. That's it. And yeah, he was very quiet. Which I'd be curious how Alex would say. I don't think Alex will listen to this episode of this podcast.
Well, I would love for Alex to be here so we can ask him why TJ Watt isn't on the list for getting the most pressures in the league.
Ooh, all things to
He did not even sniff that list.
Write these notes so we can do it and get him really riled up. Next, we'll just have like questions that we want to throw at him. But yeah, I mean, it just disappointed me to finally believe in Alex, and then they do that. You know what I mean?
Who does the Steelers play this week?
The Titans, but I can't tell you when.
I was about to say, oh, I'm for sure picking whoever they go up against, but to be honest with you, those are two very similar teams as far as how poorly they can play or good they can play. Like they're so hot and cold.
They are so hot and cold. And the Titans, though, dude. Let's just talk
Will
about
Levis.
Levis, bro. Let's talk about Will Levis. That he is the Titan, dude. Holy shit, he balled out.
Yeah, that 4 touchdowns. That's pretty crazy.
A great D Hop, three TDs, bro. Okay, I 100% believe in sparks and runs, and that sometimes like Will Levis, if he can have a couple good games still under belt, it's like Brock Purdy last year with the 49ers. Like,
Yeah.
dude, you play well enough and people don't really are underestimating you, you're gonna win some games.
And people don't really have tape on you.
And he played pretty. He looked confident. He played pretty lights out for the most part. And I would never imagine him playing to that caliber, to that level.
It'll be interesting to see if he can do it again. Like you said, you can get on a streak, but there's also one-offs. There's times where, like, how many times have we said, "Oh my God, Ryan Fitzpatrick," because he's having Fitz magic game of his life, and then the next 5 he sucks.
Yeah. This will be a good week to show because the Steelers defense is still more tough. And I think the Titans just have a lot of injuries that they're going to have to work through. But like this will be a good week to test his skill and see what he actually is really about. I'm just really impressed. I didn't see them beating the Falcons like that.
No,
especially when knowing being Tannehill injured. But I think Desmond Ritter played really bad, or
he's getting benched.
He got benched.
He's getting benched for Taylor Heineke.
Ugh.
Yep. Which is exciting for Taylor Heineke. Because whenever he goes in, he always does pretty well. Like, I'm not saying he's your, mega star quarterback, but he plays well enough to deserve to be the starter. Always.
You know what? But he's kind of like Fitz magic.
Too inconsistent.
Yeah.
When he's hot, he's hot. And when he's not, it's cold.
On the Commanders, if he would have been the guy, they didn't believe in him. Think about that.
Yeah, but that's such a shitty, dysfunctional organization that I don't necessarily trust their instincts always.
Well, I don't know what they do half the time. I'm so confused. Being in my division, the Commanders being the way they are, first off, they blew that game. I literally thought for a second that we were going to get Chris. We were going to be right. And that would have been awesome. And it would have been great for me because then the Eagles would have been down, but they just had to blow it. And Sam Howell even had a good game. It just makes me so mad.
They blew it because of Terry McLaurin. Not really. Sam Howell played like Sam Howell always plays. Like, fairly decent, like pretty good. Yeah, he had a lot of more touchdowns than normal, actually. But like just every single pass watching it, it's like, typical Sam Howell. Where it went wrong was Terry McLaurin dropping balls that he should not have dropped.
In the 4th and 8 to like get that big play.
Not only the 4th and 8, but the 3rd and 8 prior to that also went to him was an even worse drop than the 4th. Both should have been catches, but the 3rd one was like horribly, horribly dropped. And then I think they did pick up a first down earlier in that drive that got called back because of a penalty. So like they just shot themselves in the foot.
Well, like before that, the drive before that is when he threw that interception. Like he
did
30-24 and you're in the fucking almost 4th quarter. Like, dude, you can't be making that. Like, you got to play smart.
And then the Commanders decided to give up and trade Sweat and Chase Young.
I think that ball honky, bro. Good for them. You know what? Restart. You got nothing to lose. Everything about your organization is bad. I feel bad for one player on that team, and I think his name is Jonathan Allen. He's been there forever.
And the guy who was going off.
Yeah. 7 years of this fucking shit. They send everybody else away, but keep him.
Yep.
Oh God, I'd be pissed. I'd be pissed.
I know. He was hoping to get moved.
I'd be going up into the organization and be like, this is my last year. You move from me, please. God, get the fuck out of here. I'm not- and then seeing Bryce Young get his first win, I hate that because I really wanted CJ Stroud to
An
win.
17. Oh,
No, I just wanted Chase. I just didn't want him to beat Houston. I didn't think he'd beat Houston.
yeah, that was very shocking. I got that one wrong as well. I thought for sure Houston would beat him by at least a touchdown. Any given Sunday, and when you think about it, they're both two really young rebuilding teams. So if the Panthers were going to get a win, this was the week to do it.
Yeah, did 100%. And one off a field goal. So it wasn't like it was like a blowout. 15-13. Sounds like a real
Right.
Like I didn't even watch it. Don't even care. That's like the Jets and Giants game. We don't even have to talk about it because it was just super boring. 13-10 overtime win. Like, dude, can I see something?
To be honest with you, I'm disappointed that it took them into overtime to beat the Giants. The Giants are so bad this year. Like, I don't get. Like, the Jets have a good enough defense where that shouldn't have been a game.
I think the only one I really have to talk about was one. I got two. I lied. The Bengals and the 49ers. 49ers again. Losing. Let's go.
I do love to see it. I do love to see it.
I don't I like Brock Purdy. I wish him the best because I do. I like his story. I like that he's an Arizona kid, but like you losing,
He has not looked good.
no, you guys are screwing yourselves. Gives us a better opportunity in the playoffs. Kind of maybe different positioning because you're losing games. There's other teams can be sneaky, man. You never know what's going to happen. But yes, please keep losing.
Right now, Seattle's in the lead of that division, and the 49ers would have to go on the road to face either Detroit or the winner of the East. Or actually, would it be the Bucks?
Bucks. Oh,
Would it be the Bucks?
yeah, it would because it would be the Bucks. It would be that organization because I think you guys would be technically better because they would play if the Eagles would technically win the division. Like, right? Let's just say the Eagles are the team that wins the NFC East.
Uh-huh.
They would be number 1 seed. Number 2
Yeah, if
seed.
it ended today, they would be the number 1 seed. Detroit would be number 2.
The Lions would be playing us.
Okay. To be honest with you, the only team I really don't want to play is Seattle because they have our number. It doesn't matter how it does. Like something will happen at the end of the game that gives it to them. It's just so I would much rather play a Philly, San Fran, a Dallas, even though those on paper are tougher matchups. They just don't have the same voodoo.
Mark your words, buddy. It's coming up. It's coming.
Oh, I'm excited for our
What it's
game.
really
I'm
about.
excited for our regular season game.
Joey Burrow, you traded for Patrick Mahomes because you didn't think Joey was getting the job done. Joey said, well, fuck you, Chris. I'm going to get it done.
Hey, and I still have him.
No. I thought I was trying to get him at that time too because I was like, dude, he's going to come back.
I'll trade him.
Dude, he missed 4 passes that entire game. On it. I never worry about you don't worry about the Bengals. Bengals will get it together. This is them every
They'll
year.
get it together.
Dude, it's just fun. It's weird in how that works, isn't it? I think it's like
some teams are just like that. They start off super bad, but they'll get it together. And that's been the Bengals the past few years, starting with the year they went to the Super Bowl. It wasn't pretty right from the get-go. They had to get it going. I don't know why that is. They would be in a much better spot if they could figure out how to win in the beginning of the season too, but they win when it matters.
Yeah, 100%. I think that's what you need ultimately. I mean, I had something to say. I can't remember what it was, to be honest with you.
It's been a long day.
Dude. It was teams just starting off not good, but whatever. Anyways, I just can't believe they're doing it and they're doing it again. So I do believe it because that's just them. It is what it is. And what a good team to beat. A team that's not really facing. And technically that's a Super Bowl caliber team and they beat them pretty fairly.
Yeah, and the only thing else that I really have to talk about is the fact that we will go the rest of the season without seeing Kirk Cousins.
I can't clap. That's so sad, man.
No, no, I'm not celebrating the man's injury at all because it's not going to be as satisfying when we beat the Vikings. Like against Josh Dobbs. Like
Yeah.
I like Josh Dobbs. But come on, that's not as good as, getting to smack Kirk Cousins around a couple games. And like it's just kind of like, oh, that sucks. But on the positive side, they were starting to get their shit together. And so they were the only team that I was concerned about in our division, possibly challenging the Lions. So now the division feels pretty dead.
Yeah.
Packers are so bad, Bears are so bad. Like getting Sweat isn't going to turn them into a good team.
Chris,
So it's
hey, you're the best team in this division.
we are by far the best team in this division. Like it would be a crime if we don't win the division. That's how bad the rest of the division is.
You just get a big chubby, like while you're sitting here.
Oh yeah. Oh
Bro,
yeah. Oh my God. That division title is ours.
Who would ever think that at some point the Lions would be divisional winners, leaders, 6-2?
It's gonna be beautiful.
It is sad that Kirk's okay. Well, how do you feel about the media talking about how the locker room is really emotional for Kirk? Like they actually really love Kirk. Isn't that insane?
It doesn't surprise me at all. I think that's going to hurt them because well, I don't know, it could either hurt them or it could fuel them. But I don't think they're good enough for it to fuel them. Like Justin Jefferson now no longer has any real reason to hurry back from this injury. He should take his time, rest up, because he's going to get paid. Actually, no, he's not on his guaranteed deal yet. So he is missing out on some game checks. So he's got money that'll motivate him, but it's like they're not going anywhere. If that locker room's hurting for him, it's probably because they're not just because the injury is brutal, but we may have just watched him play his last game for the Vikings. Vikings may not re-sign him. They may move on and rebuild, go with a new QB in this draft. I just hope it's not JJ. So we could see Kirk Cousins moving on. Now, where's he going to go? I don't know. The Raiders, because they just benched Jimmy Garoppolo. So chances are they're going to be looking for a new QB. Who knows? Maybe by the end of the year, Brock Purdy might be the experiment that was, and now they need, a vet.
Wow.
I don't know.
Wow. I never even thought about him going to San Fran, but they like them old people.
Kyle Shanahan.
But I didn't think like the Raiders. I didn't like that. But I get what you're saying. It's sad and it's weird now that Kirk Cousins might not be there. Achilles tear, that's hard, and he's already older. Like,
yeah,
he's still playing good football, but he's.
Do you see the close up?
No.
Oh, you could see immediately his calf just kind of like pop and reverberate, and like you knew that his Achilles was like, it was easy to say it was Achilles before they came out with it. It was just right there on film. It was gross.
So, what is this? What is the ordeal with Achilles? I've heard more Achilles injuries this year than I've ever heard, and specifically,
it has been weird
because Aaron Rodgers, Kirk Cousins, who else is with an Achilles? There's multiple people.
I don't know who else is. Like the Achilles isn't a uncommon injury, but it is for quarterbacks.
J.K. Dobbins,
that's right.
Tre'Davious White from Buffalo, all have a torn Achilles.
That's crazy.
Big deal. Like that's huge.
Wow. Is it the turf? I believe all of those injuries happened on turf besides for J.K. Dobbins. I think that happened at home, which would have been grass.
Wow.
But it is weird.
Oh, dude, he's 35. Cousins is dude. Do you think people would actually sign this guy again? 35 years old?
Now, granted, they're two different quarterbacks, but everyone's acting like Aaron Rodgers is going to come back just as good.
You know what? But it's Aaron. It's not like it's Kirk Cousins, dude. You're talking about
Yeah.
Captain Kirk. They're not talking about an MVP.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm assuming he'll go to the same top surgeon for his like Rogers did and go on the same path to recovery. I bet you a team will sign him. Whether he's as good as he was this year or not is left to be seen, but I bet you someone will sign him. There's enough teams out there desperate enough for a quarterback that they know, we know what he is.
Yeah,
So he'll go somewhere.
that's crazy. But you know what? Good for you. It'll give them stock capital to draft, so they can draft maybe get some good players to add to already their talented team. So we'll see what happens with that. That would suck for you, but probably about what the Vikings should do. Lose out.
Yeah, for sure.
Let the Bears think they're going to win something.
That was such a dumb move by the Bears because they gave up a second round pick for him. And you might think, okay, that's not that bad. Like,
For sweat.
yeah, that like he's a bona fide stud. Here's the problem. He's great, but he's not elite. And you just gave up a second round pick for him, and his contract is up after this season.
Yeah.
So when it comes time to negotiate, he has all the leverage. You just gave up so much for him. You can't just let him walk. You would look stupid. So you're going to have to overpay him.
Yeah.
So I don't get that by the Bears, but whatever.
We'll see what they end up doing, dude. The Bears are a unique organization. Watch these teams just fail and do what it is. I'm just excited because we're finally winning and it's getting good. You guys are winning. This is a great podcast of winners this week because Alex is here. Sorry, McJam. We're not going to talk about it. McJam, I didn't even mention the bird's nest. I'm so sorry. I was so rude and didn't include you.
McJam, how do you feel about Dobbs leaving the team? Flying the coop.
Not too happy about it, honestly. I liked him. I mean, the season's over for us anyways, so not much to say here, but yeah, I wish we still had him.
I don't think it's going to be this week, but potentially next week, you could have Kyler Murray back.
That's
So
true.
that'd be exciting just to see how he's doing, how fast he can wipe the rust off.
I was going to say, at this point, it makes you almost rush to get him back in because who do you have? Who's your backup?
I forget who they said.
Toon, I think is his last name.
Yeah, I'd just be I don't know. I'd probably
Clayton
just tank
Tune.
the rest of the year.
Yeah.
Just get the draft capital.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. Your Cardinals are still looking rough. I mean, that's just that part. I'm sorry, McJam. That was really depressing.
It's okay.
Well, that's it, man. I got nothing else for you, Chris. I know you're tired. I know you're
I'm tapped in a lot of ways.
I love it. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in for another great episode. We miss Alex. There's things about Alex that I do miss. And one, he always says something stupid where you can make fun of him.
Right.
Two, he just flows right along, even though it's awkward and really cringy sometimes. He gets through it. And he's always upbeat. So we appreciate you, Alex. We miss you, but glad you're gone for this week so we can shit on the Steelers. So if you guys love us, follow us, 3 Me Bros Podcast. I think it's on all socials and on our YouTube. Chris, you got anything else you want to say?
No, just that I look forward to the Steelers losing again this weekend. So when Alex does rejoin us, we can shit on him in person as well.
Absolutely. 2 losses back to back. It's gonna be worse.
Live update: the Diamondbacks just lost.
Fuck.
So the Rangers are.
What a way to end the pod, McJam. God.
Well, damn, we all lost our bets. Poor Arizona, but good for the Rangers. That's their first World Series ever.
Good for them. They just, I mean, you know what? They deserve it.
How could you have been mad at any team? Like, it was cool to see the Diamondbacks win, but hey, at least it wasn't the Dodgers, the Astros, the Red Sox.
Oh, I'm
Yankees.
sure the Astro fans are losing their minds because they hate the Rangers. So they're probably furious watching them win.
Back-to-back titles in Texas. Let's go. Hey, guys, last year it was the year of Philly. Philly made it to the Super Bowl, lost, right? Baseball made it again, but made it last year. Starts in Texas, baby. Specific.
Oh boy. And just like that, you jinxed the entire Cowboys.
You know what? Hope can only be, you have to make reasons and suspicions, and that makes belief, manifesting it.
I love it. Well, you keep manifesting, and we will see you here next week.